recording. Okay. So let's start with today's session of reports and dashboards. So last week we were seeing the automated functionalities which are available in Salesforce in the first level workflows and the goal process. So today let's continue with the reports and dashboards. That would be our today's session. Okay. So reports. Uh, Reports in short, if you see, it is like graphical representation of data. Okay, in short, if you say, that would be the scenario for reports and dashboards. For reports, if you say, it is always easier for the top management to view the data as reports. Think of like we have a custom object called employee, wherein which we have all the employee related details or records in that particular object for our organization. Let's assume that we have some 1,000 records. In such a scenario, instead of going inside the object and seeing each and every employee's records, it would be ideal or easier for any person to have the details in one shot, right? In one instance itself, if you have all the details of your employees' records, it would be ideal. So that's what is your reports are going to do. So reports are like the graphical representation of data. So in short, if you see, if I wish to see all my employees' data in one screen itself, I can have my reports. If you take any other system, all systems, all technologies will have these reports. In Salesforce, if you take like in the first level itself, they have provided the option of creating reports without even going for coding. If you take like SAP or SAP or any other system, like you will have to go for preparing simple reports itself, you will have to go for coding. But in Salesforce, if you see, in the first level itself, it's very easy to prepare reports, and that's what we are going to see today. So reports, in short, if you see, it's a graphical representation of data. So reports, there are 4 types of reports. Tabular, summary, matrix, and join. So these 4 are the 4 different types of reports which you can create in Salesforce, and of which this joined report is something which was recently added by Salesforce in the recent release, like maybe like a couple of releases before. Okay, so it has its own limitations, and we are going to see that. So till the extent of how whatever Salesforce has released, we are going to see. Okay. So before starting with the reports, you need to create, if you want to create any reports in Salesforce, you first need to have report type. Okay. So mandatory. So this report type is mandatory to create any report in Salesforce. So what is a report type if you see? It is a template to create reports in Salesforce. This is what we say in short for for any report type actually. So it's actually a template for creating reports in Salesforce. So any report in Salesforce will have a report type. So if you look at the flow, it is actually obviously, if you want to create any report, irrespective of whatever technology you use, you need to have first data. If you have records or data, then only you can pull a report, right? So here also, you need to have object fields. Then inside that, you need to have records and data. After which, you need to have a report type. Then only you can have reports. From report type, you can have reports, and from reports only you can create dashboards. Okay, this is only actually the actual flow of creating reports in Salesforce. Many people seeing videos or any PDF, they'll try to create new reports and dashboards because it's just be point and click. They'll try to create a new report, new dashboard, everything is fine, but they'll forget to have your report type actually. So what is a report type? What is the significance of report type? They'll forget to have. Okay, so because of which you will not be able to, they'll not be able to proceed further in creating a report or dashboard. This report type is actually very critical and important. So what is a report type? If you see, as I said earlier, it is actually a template for creating reports. So what is a template? If you see, it will, this report type only will have all your fields which you have included in your object. For example, if I assume like in the employee object, if I have some 10 fields, first name, last name, full name, status, number of days, what is the years of experience, what is the skill set which that particular employee is going to have. Let's assume like these are all the fields which I have in my employee object. In report type only, all these fields will be included. Okay, so once you have this report, once you have pulled this report type, we will share from as a consultant or as an admin or as a developer in Salesforce, we will share this particular report type with the customer. Okay, after which he by himself can create reports. Why is it like we are giving an option for the customer to pull a report? If you see, uh, today let's assume like in employee object we have 10 fields. Today the customer is coming and asking for a report with 5 fields. Okay, tomorrow he might come back and ask for 6 fields to include another field, and day after that 7 fields, and day after that 8 fields. So to avoid such a scenario, we are going to create one template called report type, which will include all the fields in that particular object, and we are going to share that particular template to the customer itself, so that based on his requirement, there is an option for himself to include the fields whatever he wished to add based on his criteria. Okay, but this is the scenario, this is actually the customer himself can do, but in real time if you see, no customer will be creating the reports by himself. Even though you create the template, even though you create the report type and share the particular report type with the user, even though there is an option wherein which the customer himself can create a report, in real time if you see, no customer will create report by himself. So it is actually, it will come actually as a job for any admin or as a consultant if you are going to be there. It is actually the job of a consultant to create a report. That's only the real scenario. But if the customer, any customer himself has some knowledge on Salesforce, he will have that option of creating the reports with this particular report type. He can actually create a report. Okay, and to be in short, whomsoever it may be, let it be the end user, business user, consultant, admin, developer, whomsoever it may be, in Salesforce, if you want to create any report, you need to have a report type. So what is a report type? It is a template. So what is a template? That actually will include all the fields in your of your particular custom object. For example, if I wish to create a report for employee custom object, I need to create a report type first for that particular custom object, upon which on top of that report type only I can create a report. Okay, without which if I'm going to create a new report without creating a report type, it will take me to my by default account object, because alphabetically for the Salesforce itself, like if you see like by default for all the standard objects you will have dummy data, right? Dummy data, dummy report, Salesforce itself would have created. Like that, they have created report type also for all the custom standard objects. I'm sorry. For all the standard objects in Salesforce, Salesforce itself would have created some dummy report type for account, contact, opportunity, lead, for everything, cases, solutions, campaign. If you see, they by themselves would have created report types and keyboard. So if you are failing to create one report type for a custom object, it will by default alphabetical orderly, it will take you to the account object only. So if you create, just let's click on new report, it will take to the account object, and you will be able to find only the fields inside the account object only. But what is my intention? My intention is to pull a report or create a report for my custom object called employee, correct? So that would not be satisfied. So if you click on just new report, it will take me to account object only. But that is not my intention. My intention is to create a report for my custom object called employee, correct? So I will be showing everything exactly. When I show that, you will have a better clarity. So to be in short, what is the thing that we need to be remembered now is to create any report in Salesforce, we need to have a report type. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to stress or specify here. So what is a report type I have specified. So with report type only you can pull a report. So what is a report I have explained, like it is a graphical representation of data. So what are all the types of report if you see tabular, summary, matrix and joint. So joint is a new report type which was new report which was added recently in the recent release. And it has its own limitations because of recently released. So we will see what are all the limitations and how possible it is able to create one joint report. So tabular report, if you see, it is actually a representation of data as rows and columns. Okay, just a representation of your data as rows and columns. You would have seen your Excel, right? So where in which you will have the data where it has been depicted or represented as rows and columns. In the same way, your tabular report in Salesforce will depict your data as rows and columns. That's all. Okay, that would be your tabular report. Next, if you see summary report, if you want to group the data by rows, okay, and let's take an example for tabular report. Let's assume like on employee object we have some 100 records, okay, 100 employee details records. Instead of going inside each and every record inside the employee object and seeing, it would be ideal for me to have the data as rows and columns in one single shot, right? So your tabular report will show all the details. So also every record in Salesforce will have a unique ID. So we are going to see in tomorrow's session about data loader or data migration, in which we are going to see how to migrate the data in bulk from one system to another. For example, today Salesforce is head. Yesterday it was Siebel. Tomorrow it would be some other system which we don't know. Correct. So if you want to migrate data from some other system to Salesforce or from Salesforce to some other system, you need a tool to do that. So we have data loader here. So for that, you need to have every record in Salesforce will have a unique ID, which we will be discussing tomorrow. So that ID, this tabular report would be very much useful when you are doing that sort of activity. Okay. Also in real time, if you see where this tabular report would be used, if you see like let's assume like already someone has done all the activities of data creation, object fields, data, everything, reports, everything has been done. And for every record, as I said in Salesforce, will have a unique ID. With that ID only, it is actually 18 character ID, where in which the first three characters will represent or denote your object actually. 001 will represent your account, 003 represent your contact, 006 will represent your opportunity. So all these days you would have gone to account, contact and opportunity by clicking on the tab, a particular tab, right? Inside Salesforce, log into Salesforce, click on the sales application, go to account, go to contact, go to opportunity. By clicking on that particular tab only you would have gone, right? So now after this, on the in the URL, if you just type in 001, 003, 006, after this, if you just type in these numbers, it will take you directly to the account object, contact object and opportunity object, because those three characters it actually represents your object. Likewise, the same way for whatever custom object which you create, the first three characters it actually denotes your object. The remaining 15 characters it will be a unique ID for your record. Whatever record you create on any particular object in Salesforce will have a unique ID with which only we will be representing, because this is Salesforce is cloud, right? So if you just represent Ganesh, let's assume like there is a record called Ganesh on employee object or Delanta on Ganesh object. I'm sorry, on employee object. If you say Ganesh, Delanta, Salesforce would not be able to recognize. but Ganesh and Dinata will have a unique ID. If you represent that particular data with that ID, Salesforce would be able to generate. Okay, that's what in detail we are going to see about this IDs tomorrow. So when we are going to migrate the data from some other system to Salesforce or from Salesforce to some other system, this tabular reports and all will be very much useful. So your tabular report is just the representation of data as rows and columns as you will be doing it in your Excel sheet. Okay. The next level, summary, you will be grouping it. You have the data as rows and columns. Like if you wish to group the data by rows, okay. So in summary report, you will be grouping the data by rows. Let's assume like you have represented the data of employee object as tabular report, wherein which it is showing the data as rows and columns. In summary report, if you look at the advantage, let's say like in my employee, who are all permanent employee, who are all contract employee. In the last session we would have seen, right, we have a field called type. It is a tick list field wherein which it will represent who are all permanent employee, who are all contract employee in my organization. So now what is my requirement if you assume? I wish to have a report wherein which it needs to show who are all the permanent employees, who are all the contract employees. I wish to have a group like this. So how can I achieve that? If you see, it is possible to achieve by summary report. Okay. So next, if you see matrix report, so this is like an extension of your summary report, wherein which the definition would go like, if you wish to group by rows, if you wish to group the data by rows and columns. Okay, if you wish to group the data by rows and columns, you would be going for matrix report. Fine. So, in summary, what we saw, who are all the permanent employee, who are all the contract employee. That's the one level of grouping which we have done. In the matrix report, if you see, two levels of grouping. If you wish to have two levels of grouping with two different fields, like who are all the permanent employee, who are all the contract employee, and also in that permanent contract employee, who are all the employees who have applied for how many days of leave and what is the leave status, whether it has been approved or pending for approval. We have seen an approval process, right? Every employee has applied for leave and we have a field called status. So now in matrix report, what is my requirement? If you say I wish to group it by type first, like oral permanent, oral contract. Then inside that type, I want to again group it using like how many people have applied for leave and what is the leave status actually, whether it has been approved or whether it has been pending for approval, and whether it has been seen by the manager. Like using two different fields, I wish to have the report. Like using one field is like your type of the employee, and the next level of grouping would be like your status of the employee. I mean, the status represents your leave status. Whomsoever has applied for leave, what is the leave status? I want to have two different levels of grouping. In other words, if I wish to create a report with two different fields, then you would be going for matrix. So it is not like it is not, the report is not restricted only with two or more kind of grouping. Okay, permanent contract, that is actually one grouping. Then again, with like what is the status of the leave of for permanent employee and contract employee. This is another grouping. Like this is another field. Then you can also have another field like in this leave, what is the, if you wish to have another field where in which you wish to. So two or more fields of grouping if you wish to have, then it is possible to achieve using matrix report. Okay, these three are the report types which were there from the start in Salesforce. This joined report is something which was recently released in Salesforce. If you see, like as the name itself says, if you want to create a report for two objects, to join two objects. So all this tabular, summary and matrix, if you see, they all could be created on one particular object. For example, if I wish to create one report for account, I could do it. If I wish to create one report for employee, I could do it. Like workflows, your approval process, you first need to select on which object you are going to pull a report. Do you remember when you are creating an object in Salesforce, it will ask you to select one option in future whether do you want to pull a report from this particular object. Okay. So if you had selected that option only, in future you will get an option to pull a report from that particular object which is going to contain all your data or records. Okay, it's fine. So by default, you can create a report from only one particular object. Now, what customers were demanding, like, what if, like, if I wish to create a report, one single report for two objects or two or more objects, wherein which there is a relationship among themselves in the backend. We have seen master detail and your what is the lookup relationship, right? So there is predominantly there are going to be two kinds of relationships: lookup and master detail. So what customers were demanding, like already there is a relationship among two objects like lookup and master detail. Why could not Salesforce give an option to pull a report, one single report itself, if there is a relationship between two objects like employee, for example, account and contact. Account is actually parent, contact is the child. Okay. Now I want to pull a single report wherein which it should show all the accounts and all its related contacts, or all the accounts and all the opportunities, or all the accounts and all the cases. What are all the cases for that particular account? So why could not Salesforce give an option to have a single report? Because by default in the back end, already they have a relationship, either lookup or master detail they have. So because they have a relationship, why could not there is one option? It would be good, nice to have. So then only Salesforce brought in this joined report, wherein which you can actually create one joined report between two objects, provided those two objects have some relationship, either lookup or master detail in the backend. Whether by default Salesforce would have paired it, or you are going to create for your custom objects, employee, PF, and payslip. Okay, employee PF is going to be a lookup, employee payslip is going to be in a master detail. So I want to create one single report wherein which what is the overall the employees in my current organization, what is the PF for each employee, and what is the payslip for each employee in one single report itself I wish to have. If you wish to create one such report, then that is possible using joined reports. Okay. So combining two or more objects data in one single report, it is possible using joint reports, provided those two objects have some relationship in the backend by themselves, or if the customer had created, or if the user had created any relationship, then it is possible. But then this being released in the recent release, it has its own limitations, it has its own bugs from its own end. So if you look at the limitations, if you see, let's assume, like I told, right, what is the water account and its related contacts, account and its related opportunities, I told, right, in one single report. Okay, using giant report you can pull, but what is the limitation? If you see, it will not show for this particular account. For example, let's assume like TCS or Tata Consultancy Services. Okay, for let's assume like for instance, the example, Tata Consultancy Services is the account name. What are all the contacts, related contacts for this particular account I wish to have? What are all the opportunities for this particular TCS or Tata Consultancy Services? But my joint report, it will not show like that. Okay, it will show like this account, all accounts and all opportunities, but it will not show for this particular account these are all the contacts, because one account can have many contacts, one account can have many opportunities, correct? So my joined report, it will not show in specific these are all the accounts or contacts for this particular account. Also, it is not possible to filter. For example, if I am going to put a filter on account, I wish to have all the related contacts for that particular account. I cannot put a filter on child. If I am going to put a filter on account, on parent, on one object, it will affect only that particular object. But what customers are asking, if you see, if I put a filter on one object, it should get reflected on other object. For example, if I put a filter on account object, I need to pull data from the account, I mean contact, or from my opportunities. But that was not possible in your joint report. Okay. Also, you cannot pull a dashboard. It is not possible to pull a dashboard in Salesforce using joint reports, and there is already a limitation using tabular reports. You will not be able to pull a dashboard. Only using summary and matrix it is possible in Salesforce to have a dashboard, because you need to have either one level of grouping, any level of grouping you need to have. Correct. Think like logically. If you have any grouping only, it is possible to create a dashboard. So what is a dashboard? It is actually a pictorial representation of data. Okay. So either as a pie chart, donut chart, vertical bar chart, horizontal bar chart, or funnel chart. These are all the available dashboards in Salesforce. Okay, if you wish to have any kind of dashboard, you need to group the data. So where grouping is possible using summary and matrix only, grouping is possible in Salesforce. So only using summary and matrix only you can create dashboards. Okay. So the next level, if you see, it is actually dashboard. So in short, if you say, it is actually the pictorial representation of data. Your reports will show the data in a graphical way. So it would be more ideal or feasible for any top management to view the data in a pictorial way, right? Like as a graph chart, like bar chart, pie chart, donut chart. So your dashboards in Salesforce will help you to achieve that. So dashboards, if you see, it is actually the pictorial representation of your data. Okay. So what are all the different, if you see, there are different components available by default in Salesforce to achieve this. So what are all the components, if you see? Okay, these are all the predetermined components, predefined components in Salesforce by which you can create a dashboard: pie chart, bar chart, horizontal, vertical bar chart, funnel chart, donut chart, gauge, and finally using visual force also it is possible to create a chart. Because if you feel like the customer is feeling like, I don't want to have the predefined components, I wish to have some custom components, I wish to have some custom designing. So what I said, like your visual force, using visual force it is possible to achieve a custom design, I told, right? So this visual force will help you. Using visual force also it is possible, and also it is not only through visual force you will not be able to achieve. You will need to include some third party scripts, or like chart.js is there, your am charts are there. uh, okay, all these are JavaScript frameworks for achieving your custom uh, chart kind of stuff. So using this also it is possible to achieve. Okay. So, but the recommended way, what in 90% of the scenarios, in most of the scenarios in real time, if you see, like we will tell very clearly the customer, like these are all the available ways by which you can create a dashboard in Salesforce, and these are all the limitations. There are certain limitations, and we cannot bypass that. We will tell very clearly, because if you go for visual force to achieve this, it will take, like the more time and customization, and there are so much restrictions and limitations are there, and you need so much. So like we will tell very clearly, these are all the components, and through which only you would be able to do it. And to be very honest, like maximum scenarios will fit in these components itself. So obviously you would be using pie chart, bar chart, horizontal, vertical, or funnel. Maximum you would be able to fit in this itself. If at all above this, if the customer is asking, then we will have to go in for the using visual force. We'll be able to achieve this. Okay, for which you need to have a knowledge on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, third-party JavaScript frameworks like Charter.js, Ham charts. Using this, you will be able to achieve. Okay, so dashboard and a dashboard. If you see like uh, only summary and matrix reports can have dashboards if you see. Okay, only summary and matrix reports can have dashboards, not your tabular and joined. So that's what like the limitations which I told for joined. So tabular it's fine because we don't have any grouping in tabular, so we will not be able to create a dashboard for tabular report. That's fine. But for joined, if you see what is joined actually, if you are going to combine or club two report types of any particular two objects, right? Where those two objects have relationships. Let's assume like those two objects have some, you know, already they have some grouping. For example, account has some level of grouping and contacts has some level of grouping. Then if I am going to if I'm trying to create one joint report for this account and contact, then it should allow me to create one dashboard, right? But in Salesforce, like the joint report, it will not allow me to create a dashboard and it will throw an error saying that it needs to have a chart, it needs to have a chart. Even though I have a level of grouping for any one of my particular object or for both the objects, Salesforce does not have the option of, creating one dashboard for joint report. So that's actually one limitations for the joint report, which primarily Salesforce will be fixing in the upcoming releases maybe. Okay, so this is actually the flow, and to be in short an overview about your reports and dashboards. You need to have report types and following that reports, and with that you will be having your dashboards. Okay, this would be an overview, and let's see in practical how to achieve all this. For example, we are going to take this particular object called employee leave. Okay, because I have some 146 records. So what I said, to create a report, you need to have considerable amount of records or report, I mean data, right? So I have in my dev org for this particular object, I have around 146 records, and also I have a considerable amount of fields. If you see like see here, like I have around 10 fields, last name, number of days. So for summary matrix or for grouping and all, if you see, I need to have at least few fields and few data. Okay. So for example, for taking this reports, let's have this object. Already we would have seen this particular object for workflows and approval process, correct? So for reports also, I'm going to take this particular object. Okay. So now for reports, whatever application you select, you will have this reports and dashboards. I would have told in the first session itself, whatever application you select, you will have home charter reports and dashboards. That would be common, correct? So in any application you click on reports, it will take you to the same reports only. See here, I have this in marketing. In sales, if I click on reports, again it will take me to the same thing. So the reports and dashboards is common for all applications. Let it be your standard or custom application, no problem. So you can create a report from any application. So I'm going to click on report. So what is my intention actually? If you see, I want to create a report for employee leave. Fine. So employee leave has 146 around 146 records and have these many number of fields: first name, last name, full name, number of days, status, type. So my intention is to create a report using this object. So let's see what happens if I click on report and I'm clicking on. If you want to create a report, go to report, click on new report. Okay. So then click on create. See here, by default, it will take me to the account report type. So I have already explained what is a report type, right? So if I fail to select the report type, or if I fail to create one particular report type for my custom object, by default, in alphabetical order, A comes first. So Salesforce, it will take to the by default the alphabetical order report type called accounts. So here, if you see, it will show only all the account related fields. So it will not show my custom object employee field. See here, my field is like number of days. I wish to add this number of days. If I search for this particular field, it will not be available, because it is going to display my this particular report. It will display only all my account related fields. Okay, so by default, if you fail to create a report type, or if you fail to select one report type, if you directly go to create one report, it will take you to the account object only. But my intention is not to create a report on account object. My intention is to create one report on employee leave object. Okay, for that I need to create one custom report type. Okay, so what is a report type? Where to go and create? If you see, click on setup. On your left, click on report type. So under build create, you will have report types. Click on that. So it will take you to this particular object. Click on new custom report type. So it will give you this option of selecting the particular object. So what is the object? If you see, it is actually employee leave, right? So employee, click on the object and give a name for your report type. So to have the distinction, I am using your name itself. So give one report type name for your custom report type, then a description. Then you will have to select any one category among these categories. It is not possible to create one new category. So you will have to store it in any one of the categories. So it is always recommended to have it in the other reports. Okay, you can have it. Then always select in deployment, in deployed, because if you select in development, only you will be able to see and not others. So it is always recommended to select deployed. Okay, so that everyone would be able to use this particular report type. Click on next. So this is how you create one new custom report type with which you would be able to create reports for this particular object. So if at all, if you wish to have any relationship, then you can have it. So here if you see, I don't have any relationship for this particular object. So connection histories and activities are only there. So as I don't have any relationship, I am going to have only this as my particular object. So click on save. So this is how you create one, custom report type for any object. So you have created it. So now if you see, come down, if you see here, now this report type will have all the fields. So click on edit layout. So you would be able to see all the fields for this particular object. See here, last activity, first name, last name, full name, number of days, owner, years of experience, type, correct? So these are all the fields available in your employee custom object. So in future, if someone is going to add a new field, let's assume like on this particular custom object, you are going to create one new field. So after creating a new field, the customer is asking, so okay, as you have created a new field, I want to have that particular field on my report. So what many people will do soon after, as soon as they create one particular object at the object level, at the data modeling level, at the metadata level, once they create one particular field, they'll think like it would be available for them to create in the report, but it is not possible. It will not get refreshed. Okay, dynamically, the fields which you add at the metadata level will not get refreshed in your report types. Okay, you will have to manually come and add that particular newly added field here in the report type. Then only it is possible to create reports. Fine. So to show an example, let's assume like let's assume like I'm leaving it this years of experience and saving it. Okay. So this is my Delanta employee leave report type. Okay. This is the report type which I have created for this particular custom object. So with this only I'm going to create a report. Okay, where in which for this particular report I have 17 fields and I have left out years of experience. This field is there, but I have not included that in the report type. So let's see what happens. Okay, so now I am going to create one new report. Click on new report. After this I'll have to select the report type. So what is my report type name? Delanta employee report leave type, right? So select on that particular report type, click on create. So now see here, it will show all my fields available on my that custom object: type, status, number of days, first name, last name, full name, employee leave ID, employee leave name, everything it will show. But it will not show my years of experience. Let me search for years of experience. See here, it is not available because in the report type we have excluded that, or let's assume like that was the new field which was added by any other new employee, or based on the requirement from the customer, that was the new field which was added at the metadata level or at the object level. If you add a field at the object level, or if you have missed a field at the object level, then it will not be dynamically refreshed at the report type level. Okay, you will have to go and include that particular field in the custom report type. So now click on edit layout, and I'm going to include this years of experience in this report type. Click on save. After this, if you try to create a report with the same report type, let's assume now see here it is showing years of experience. That field is available. Because why? Because we have added that field in the report type. Okay, this is the significance of report type actually. Okay, so now see here, this is actually the report builder wizard. Actually, this page is the report builder wizard. This is the area where in which you will give the filter conditions. The left side area are the fields which are available on your particular object. This bottom portion is actually the preview pane, or the preview page of for your particular object. Okay, so see here, if you select on here, it will show tabular, summary, matrix, join. So these are all the various ways by which you can create a report. Let's first start with tabular report. So by default it would have been selected. Please have that. Next, let's click on what are all the fields which you want to have. Employee leave ID, let's have that here. Okay, next, employee leave name already has been given, first name, last name. If you double click on it, automatically that would be added over there. So next, if you see number of days, next if you see years of experience. Okay, created date, last activity date, last modified date, everything you can have it. So in the top, if you see my employee leave, click on all employee leave, and in the created date, just click on all time so that all records will be shown here. So this is how you create one report, tabular report in Salesforce. So next you will have to save it, or you can just run a report, it will show, but then it is always recommended to save the particular report. Okay, when you are saving it, always for reports, you will have to save it in one folder only. See here on the left side, it will show folders. So it is always recommended to save a single report, or it could be multiple reports for any particular department. For example, for HR department, they will be creating a number of reports. For marketing department, they will be creating many reports. For IT department, they will be creating many number of reports. Okay, so whatever reports or dashboards you create in Salesforce, you need to save it in one particular folder only. So how to create one folder? Click on reports and click on here on your left. If you click on this particular arrow mark, it will show new report folder, new dashboard folder. So let's try to create one new report folder called, I'm saving it in the name of your name itself, Delanta reports. So all reports which you are going to create now, it is going to get saved in the Delanta reports. Okay, next let's try to create one new dashboard folder. Okay, Delanta dashboards, Delanta reports. Fine. So we are going to save all the reports in here, all the dashboards in here. And one more thing to be noticed, if you see, are you able to see this pin here? So this will show to whom you are going to share this particular report. Okay. We have seen security and sharing in Salesforce, right? So what does that mean? For object level, we have one security. At the record level, we have one security. At the field level, we have one security. Let's assume you have given one security for me, wherein which I am not able to see the employee, this object itself, employee leave object itself, I am not able to see. You have not provided me the access to see that particular object itself. Okay. Then you are creating one report for that particular object, and then if you keep it in general folder, if I am able to see that particular report, then I am able to see all the records inside that object, right? When can you pull a report? Only when you can have a data for that particular object, you will be able to pull a report. So that particular report, it should be shared with particular person, wherein which the security and sharing is getting correctly shared. At the object level itself, I don't have access. But if I am able to see all the data using that report, then there is no use of the security and sharing, right? So that is why this sharing comes into picture. So even though you create a report, it has to be kept in one particular folder, and for that folder, you will have to provide access. For example, let's assume I am asking Delanta to create one particular report for employee leave custom object. Okay, so you should create one report and create one folder, and put that report in that particular folder, and for that folder you should provide access for Ganesh or for me. Then only I will be able to see that particular report, or else it will show insufficient access. Many times in real time, if you see the on-site counterpart or the business user, he will ask the offshore team to create a report. Okay, so what we do, we'll create a report and we'll do pakka, we'll do everything as requested, and we'll drop an email, or in the charter we'll say like hi so and so, and we have created the reports and dashboards as requested by you. And we'll provide the link for them also, because obviously you will have to provide the URL for them to see the reports on that. We'll share everything and we'll leave for the day. when the on-site people or the business people come and see and click on this particular link and see, they will see one error message: insufficient privileges, not able to see the report. Please contact system administrator. So what does that mean? These people, offshore people, they have created the report, fine, and they have kept it. They would have kept it in their personal folder. See here, there is one folder called personal folder, and it is always not recommended. And 99% of the scenarios, you will not keep any report in unfiled public reports, because HR department report should not be visible to marketing department. Marketing department report, it should not be visible to the IT department. So like this, department specific reports data are very critical and sensible, right? So no report will be kept in unfiled public reports. Any enterprise or organizational data or reports, it is not advisable or recommended to keep the data in unfiled public reports. But it is not the case for your email template. Last week we saw for workflows and dashboards, there is one task of sending, the system itself will be sending one email, right? So for which you need to have one email template. For email template, if you see, it is always recommended to keep it in unfiled template folder. Why? Because like everybody will have access. But for reports, if you see, it is the other way. Actually, you should not keep it in unfiled public reports. Always you should create a folder and you should keep that particular folder, and that for the particular folder, the users need to have the access. Okay, so we have created two folders now for reports and dashboards: Delanta reports, Delanta dashboards. If you click on this pin, it will show share. So if you click on that particular share, it will show all the for whom and all it has been provided. As I have created it, it has been by default, I have been provided with manager access. Now if I wish to share this particular with, as I have only two users, Rajesh is the second user, okay. So now if I wish to share this particular report with Rajesh, I wish to create, share this particular, I can provide viewer, editor or manager access. If I give edit, he would be able to edit the data. If I provide him manager access, he would be able to give access to other people. Okay. Now I am giving only edit viewer access. Click on OK. Now Rajesh, if I keep the report here, if I save the report in this particular folder, now Rajesh would be able to see. But earlier, if I had shared, I would have dropped an email to Rajesh. Please check Rajesh in this particular thing. If Rajesh had clicked that and checked, he would not be able to see any data. He would have seen only that the custom, that error message, wherein which it will show like insufficient privileges. Fine. So now I'll have to save this particular report in there, right? So report name, what I'm saying, tabular report. So what is the name of this? It's actually Delanta reports, but it will not show here. Why? Because we have created it now only, right? So it will not get refreshed. So we'll have to dynamically. So I will be doing. So see here, all the data available in that particular object, 146 records. All the data available in that particular object, 146 records, it is showing here. This is the tabular report. So in one single shot itself, I am able to see all the data. So no need to go inside that object, inside every record and see. If I wish to see the data of Delanta, I'll have to go to that object, go inside that record and see. Again for Ganesh, I'll have to see the same. But now as I have created a report, it is easier for me to have the details of all the employees in my object. So it has been shown as a representation of rows and columns. All the fields has been shown as columns and all the records or data has been shown as rows. So now once I click on, after this, see here, if I wish to have more data, if I click on Delanta, it will take me to this record. Okay, if I wish to have more data, I mean more details. So see here, every record will have one unique ID. All records will have A03, A03, A03. So the first three characters, it represent your object. So A03 is the code for your employee leave. So in whichever URL I am in, for example, let's assume like I am in home URL. Here if I give A03, see here, if I just click on A03, it will take me to employee leave. Are you able to see? If I click on 001, it will take me to account object. If I click on 003, it will take me to contact object. If I click on 006, it will take me to opportunity object. Fine. So the first three characters will represent your object. The remaining 15 characters is the unique for your record. So let's see, if you click on Delanta, see here on the URL, you will have this record ID. So this was the ID which I was talking about, the 18 character ID, which is a unique ID, which would be very useful for your data loader or data migration concepts I was explaining, right? So this was the area. Okay. So this was the record which we will be seeing, record ID which we will be seeing in detail or about tomorrow. So this is actually the tabular report, just a representation of your data as rows and columns. If you click on printable view, it will download, it will start download as Excel in CSV format. You can have it just so if you, it will be downloaded.
Ganesh, is it possible to create a report, tabular report, with two objects? For example, here employee is time, whatever leave,
Uh,
and plus employee object joined together. Is it a joint report or?
yeah, by using joined report only. So
Okay.
if you wish to create a report using two objects, then those two objects need to have a relationship, either lookup or master detail. Then you can create a one in one single report itself. You can club two objects and show it together using joint reports. So we will be seeing after this. Okay. So here, see here, I have shared the screen where in which I have downloaded the tabular report and shown. So using CSV format, it is possible to download it and see. Okay. So this is how you can do it for downloading. Then if you see, so this is actually your tabular report. Fine. Next is your summary report. So how to edit an already existing report? If you see, go to customize. So here if you see, click on tabular and underneath you will have summary. So now I am going to change this tabular itself to summary. So how to have one grouping for the existing report? If you see, click on summary, it will show, so here it will show one grouping. So I am going to group this particular report with one particular field. So what is that field? If you see, using type. So type is the field with which I am going to create one grouping. So who are all the permanent employee, who are all the contract employee. So go to any record and let me create Delanta record itself. If you see here you are a permanent employee. So now in this particular report, I wish to have a grouping where in which it is going to show who are all the permanent employee, who are all the contract employee. So I clicked on summary and I clicked on one field which I wish to have a grouping. So now after this I am going to save this particular report. So now see here, there are 127 permanent employees and 10 contract employees, and there are around 9 employees for whom the status is not defined. If you go and check this particular record, the type is null, correct? So that's why it is showing like this. So now see here, the record has been grouped. So who are all the permanent employees, who are all the contract employees? I am able to see in this format itself. So this is actually summary report, grouping by one column or one row. If you wish to group by one field, then it is possible using your summary report. Fine. Next, if you see customize, click on matrix. What is matrix? If you wish to group the report using two different fields. So see here, for rows you will have one grouping, for column you will have one grouping. So already I have grouped it using type, I mean contract and permanent, right? So now what I am going to do, status. Using status I am going to have one report. So now save as. So are you able to see here? So now I have grouped it using two different fields. See here, using type and using status. So who are all the permanent employees, and of that permanent employees, how many of them the leave has been approved? For 31 people the leave has been approved. For one it is in progress. For 20 it is actually rejected. For 5 it is submitted for approval, and for 27 it is workflow activated. So the grand total for the permanent employees is actually 127. Could you remember, like in summary report we saw like there were around 127 permanent employees were there, correct? So this is actually the count. So of this permanent employees, what is the status of each leave, each employee's leave? So using matrix report, we have grouped it using two fields, using type and status. So if you wish to create a report using two different fields, then it is possible using this particular report, matrix report. So this is how you would be able to create. This one will denote like actually how to say, for example, approved. If the leave is approved, it will show, for yes it will show 1. So for Delanta, For Delanta, the leave status is actually workflow activated. The status. Okay. So like this, if you wish to create a report using or group data using two different fields, then you will have to go in for matrix report. Okay. Next, if you see joined report, see till now there is, see here, have you noticed this add report type? There is an option which was disabled till your tabular summary and matrix. Once I click on this joined, this will get enabled. Okay, and you will have see here, like it will, one new block would have been created for the employee leave, one block would have been created. So now if you click on add report type, so if I click on accounts, it will show incompatible report type, or if I click on anything, it will show the same. Why? Because there is no relationship, correct? So when could you create a joined report? When you have a relationship among your objects, correct? You need to have a relationship with your either lookup or master detail among your objects. If you have that, only you would be able to create a join report. Now I don't have any relationship with any object actually. If you see here, I have not created any relationship, so it is not possible to create one joined report using this object. Fine. So I would have to show you a different way for showing the joint report. So I will first click on account report. So now here if you see all time, and here I'll click on join, add report type. Now if I click on opportunities, now see here it will not show any error because account is actually related to opportunity. Correct? Account is the parent, opportunity is the child. One account can have many opportunities, one account can have many contacts. Correct? So now click on OK. Now see here, are you able to see? See in the filter condition, now see one more new block has been added, opportunities has been added. See here, there is one new block which has been added, all opportunities, and if you click on all time, see here, opportunities, new block, and accounts is the another block. In one report itself, I am able to see two different objects data, account and its related opportunities. Correct? Okay. See here, account and its opportunities. But if you see here, it will show all accounts and it will show all opportunities. What is the opportunity for this particular account? It will not show. For example, if I click on this account, see here, I don't have any opportunities. But am I able to infer anything from this particular report? Like this particular account does not have any opportunity? No, right? So it is displaying all accounts and all opportunities. Also, if I may, if I wish to put any filter for this particular account for which it should show all the opportunities, then also it is not possible. It will not show. Correct. So it will not show any of the listed opportunities also here. So that is actually the disadvantage of this joined report. So you would be able to create one joined report wherein which it will show all the two different objects data, you would be able to see provided those two objects have some relationship among themselves. But then it has its own limitations. You would not be able to create a dashboard, you would not be able to create a filter condition based on account. If I wish to create one filter condition for opportunity, it is not possible. It is actually a limitation from Salesforce side itself for this particular joint reports, which they need to fix it in the upcoming releases. Fine. So let's see all the reports which we have created. Click on reports. So see here, tabular, summary, matrix, join. Look at the tabular report. As I said, it is just actually, just a physical representation of your data as rows and columns. It will show just your data as rows and columns. Next, if you look at summary report, it will show your report or data as row grouping. You will be grouping it by rows, just rows, or by one field. To be very specific, if you just say it like if you wish to group it by one particular field, then summary matrix. In matrix, if you wish to group it by two different fields, then it is possible using matrix. So do two different fields if you wish to have a grouping, then it is matrix. In joined report, if you wish to create one single report, if you wish to create one single report for two different objects wherein which those two objects have some relationship among themselves, then it is possible to create using joined report. Fine. So these are all the four reports which you can create using Salesforce in the first level: tabular, summary, matrix, and join. Fine. This is actually about reports. Next, if you see dashboards. So how to create dashboards? If you see, click on dashboards and click on, actually this is actually the dashboard which is already existing. So even if you wish to create a dashboard, you will have to come to reports, click on new dashboard. It will take you to dashboard builder wizard. This is actually the dashboard builder wizard. See here, this is the components which are available, which I was telling: horizontal bar chart, vertical bar chart, line chart, funnel chart, pie chart, donut chart, gauge, visual force, page. So these are all the components which are available. So you need to select what are all the components. Okay, first I am going to select the available components. Next, I'll have to select the data source. So data source would be my report. So what is the report? Delanta report. So first tabular, next summary, next matrix, next join. So if you see for tabular and joined, it would show some error. As I said, it is not possible to create a dashboard using tabular and your joined reports. Okay. So if you look at this summary and matrix, it would have created one thing. The dashboard is able to come. Why? Because there is one grouping, right? At least for creating dashboards in Salesforce, at least you need to have one level of grouping. So your summary will have one field grouping, your matrix will have two different fields which will have one grouping. So using that, you would be able to create dashboards. So now it has shown how to pull a dashboard. So you can have customizations, you can have a wide thing like this, you can create. Now after this, if you wish to save it, let's have like Delanta dashboards, and I'm going to save it in Delanta dashboards, save and run the dashboard. So now once I have this, see here, who are all the, how many permanent employees are there, how many contract employees are there, and how many are for whom night has been done, thing has been there. So pie donut chart, pie chart, vertical bar chart, like this. If you wish, if you already have a report like summary or matrix, then it is possible to create, dashboards in Salesforce like this in simple ways. And we always insist customers, like, this is the maximum way by which you can create a dashboard, and you can create customization maximum. You can have header, you can have a footer. Okay, so like this, So in settings, if you see, like you can change the report type, x-axis values, y-axis values you can change. Okay, so component data, see here, x-axis, y-axis. So this values you can change. So these are all the maximum customizations that had been provided by Salesforce. So we will tell very clearly to the customer, like this is how we can create a report or dashboard, above which it is not possible, for which you will have to go for Analytics Cloud. I was telling you about Wave, right? Wave, Analytics. So those are all the one level higher than actually this. So if you wish to have any level of customization above this, you will have to go in for Analytics Cloud, wherein which Salesforce is providing an option to provide more level of data. Above this, also, if the customer is asking you to create any further report, then you will have to go in for, like, as I said, using Visual Force Page, AmChart, like using those only, it is actually possible. So using that only you would be able to create. So we will tell very clearly the maximum level of customizations which people would be able to do is this only. So this is how we will create reports and dashboards at the first level in Salesforce. So with which your first level of creating reports and dashboards will come into an end. Fine. So tabular report, summary report, matrix, join, and your dashboards. Just your physical representation of your data as rows and columns would be your tabular report. If you want to group it using one single field or column, it would be your summary report. If you wish to group it by using rows and columns or using two different fields, it would be your matrix report. If you wish to create a report using two different objects, where provided those two objects have some relationship among themselves, then it is possible to create using joined reports. And if you have any level of grouping in your report, and it is possible to create a dashboard. So now see here, if you click on this dashboard, it will take you to your report. Now if you click on any particular record, it will take you to the object. Okay, so this is the reverse flow. So what if we saw, one second, say here, first you need to have object, field, data, then report type, reports, dashboards. This is how you create, right? Once you have created, if you click on dashboard, it will take you to report. If you click on report, it will take you to the data, field, and the object. So now if any, so this would be the, on the home page, if you see, I am clicking on any particular application, and on my home page, if you see, it would be showing the dashboard. So any VP or CEO of any company or the top management people, they would be seeing on their, once they log into Salesforce, they would be able to, on their home page, they would be able to see this dashboard every day. So it would be automatically refreshed. So okay, no problem. So once they click on this dashboard, it will take to the particular report. Inside that report, if they wish to have uh, any more further data, then click on that particular record. Then it will take them to the particular object record. Fine. So if the top management wishes to have further insights about any data, then they might drill down by this way possible, the reverse way. Fine. So this is all about your reports and dashboards. Uh, so if you wish to have any